afternoon with my colleague from Stark County, Representative Christina Hagan, as well as our Assistant Majority Whip, Cheryl Grossman, and I see Barbara Sears is here as well, our Assistant Leader. A little over a year ago, we began to examine the way Ohio encourages, or perhaps discourages, businesses to expand in our state, locate to our state, remain in our state, and create the jobs in our state that we need to provide opportunity for future generations of Ohioans. What we discovered is that the chief organization responsible for this, the Ohio Department of Development, had grown well beyond its original scope and mission as established under Governor Rhodes in 1963. In the military, we call this mission creep. And while often well-intentioned and legislation was enacted over the years, the process resulted in development no longer being nimble enough to engage business in a relevant and timely fashion. House Bill 1, as you know, introduced earlier this session by Representative Duffy and signed into law by the governor, began our focus on reforming government and revitalizing our ability to create an environment for job growth. House Bill 1 established Jobs Ohio, a private nonprofit corporation designed to lead Ohio's job creation efforts by singularly focusing on attracting and retaining jobs, with an emphasis on strategic industry sectors of statewide and regional strength. The entity has taken a private sector approach, working at the speed of business and enabling Ohio to be more nimble, flexible, and competitive in its economic development efforts. In just the past year, Jobs Ohio and its partners have worked on 245 projects. These initiatives have created and retained more than 82,000 jobs, a total payroll of nearly $4.8 billion, with almost $3.3 billion in new capital investment. But there's much more that can be done to continue building on these successes. House Bill 1 tasks the Ohio Department of Development to evaluate all powers, functions, and duties of the department and to make recommendations to improve the functions and efficiency of development. Now it's time to take the next step in transforming our state for job creation. House Bill 489 will continue the process of restructuring state government to make it more efficient and effective in supporting Ohio's businesses and attracting new enterprises to our great state. It starts with recognizing the mission of the Department of Development has been reformed to actually provide services related solely to economic development, which leads to its renaming as the Development Services Agency. I'll begin by talking about some components of the bill, starting with Tourism Ohio, a program which I believe will become a national model for tourism marketing. Tourism is the fourth largest industry in Ohio and has great potential for additional growth. To place this in perspective, Ohio's tourism industry accounts for 439,000 jobs and $36 billion in spending every year. In 2011 alone, our state and local governments realized a 14 to 1 ratio rate of return from the too much fun for just one day advertising campaign. In order to set the stage for continued success in job creation, House Bill 489 establishes Tourism Ohio as a 5-year pilot program designed to promote Ohio as a travel destination and encourage job creation in our state. In addition to the pilot program, the bill also establishes the Tourism Ohio Advisory Board to advise on strategies for promoting tourism in the state. And this board will be comprised of individuals who possess at least 5 years of executive level experience in the attractions, lodging, restaurant, transportation, or retail industry, or with a destination marketing organization. Before I turn the podium over to Representative Hagan, I wish to discuss just one further provision of House Bill 489, and that is the improvements and increased access to capital the legislation will afford minority-owned businesses in our state. Currently, the Ohio Department of Development maintains 2 minority-owned business funds, the Enterprise Loan Fund and the Capital Access Loan Program. Based on an analysis of previous distributions from both funds, it's possible for one of these funds to be completely depleted in a given year, with the remaining program having more funds than are needed based on the applicants who apply. House Bill 489 would permit the transfer of money between those 2 funds to assist more minority-owned businesses. However, during any fiscal year, the total amount of money deposited into the Capital Access Loan Program Fund from the Enterprise Loan Fund cannot exceed $3 million. Finally, the reserve requirements for each fund would have some changes as well. They'd be decreased in order to make more money available to the businesses. Current law requires that the amount equal 50% of the principal of the loan, and under the bill, the amount cannot exceed, as opposed to equal 50% of the principal of the loan. And for minority-owned businesses, the same process applies, but the rate is 80% for each of those. At this point, Representative Hagan will address the new relationship Jobs Ohio and DSA, and reforms House Bill 489 will be making to make DSA more efficient in its tax credit and loan processing programs.
Thank you, Representative Villa. And I also wanted to say real quickly, thank you to Representative Cheryl Grossman. She's been an outstanding leader when it comes to tourism in the state of Ohio and has done her ample homework and research and has helped us out tremendously in alerting us to how important this is for Ohio as we move forward. So as you are already very aware, Representative Villa and I are glad to be a part of this progressive change in cleaning up state government and streamlining services. Over the past several months, we've seen the impact of the original Jobs Ohio bill, which my colleague just discussed. The original Jobs Ohio transition drastically reduced the makeup of the Department of Development by about 40%, from 527 employees to the current total of 320 employees. By recognizing that the Department of Development was no longer efficiently serving its purpose, the department was able to reorganize and refocus its mission under the leadership of Director Christine Schmink and Governor John Kasich. For example, the Department of Development transitioning into the Development Service Agency is now magnifying the impact with current staffing levels and are seeing a one-day return around on communications letters versus the past turnaround of over a week's time. Ohioans are already receiving better service due to these changes. Jobs Ohio and the Developmental Service Agency will be working diligently to create a better economic climate. This will be done through collaboration and a better service structure. The Development Service Agency will remain focused on long-term programs for economic development, such as the Office of Business Assistance, the Office of Technology Investments, the Office of Strategic Business Investments, the Office of Tourism, the Office of Redevelopment, the Office of Community Assistance, the Office of Community Development, the Office of Energy, and the Governor's Office of Appalachia. And you can see to the side here the charts listing the different structures as we move forward. The Development Services Agency and Jobs Ohio will work together through the Jobs Ohio Regional Network and will also work together in possible outsourcing of loan services to create even higher efficiencies. Contracting for economic development can occur in both Jobs Ohio and DSA. Jobs Ohio will be responsible for business loans, business grants, and close-the-deal discretionary funds. It is also significant to note that there will be important integration of leadership. The Chief Investment Officer of Jobs Ohio will be added to the Third Frontier Commission and the Tax Credit Authority. This bill also ensures that the ODSA Director may execute a contract with Jobs Ohio for any provision of the Ohio Revised Code dealing with economic development. This integrated approach of leadership allows for a quicker process of movement for businesses if both the CIO of Jobs Ohio and the Director of DSA recommend to the Tax Credit Authority that the business application be approved. The name change of the Ohio Department of Development to the Development Services Agency, or ODSA, reflects the new mission of the department. ODSA will provide services to Jobs Ohio. For example, they'll administer and oversee loans and tax credits negotiated by Jobs Ohio to support its mission and also continue to provide a range of community services that I mentioned previously. Our bill also works to create efficiencies in incentive approvals. House Bill 489 allows a business to move forward on a project before the final approval of the Tax Credit Authority if both the CIO and the Jobs Ohio and the Director of ODSA recommend to the Tax Credit Authority that the business's application be approved. This streamlining of the process allows the business greater efficiency and ability to move forward on a project which could potentially be retaining or creating new jobs for our state. This is also a much more service-oriented approach versus the past expectations that a business should make several trips to Columbus and accommodate the schedules of government. Under the current structure, business expansions have been delayed due to difficulties in scheduling Ohio's Tax Credit Authority meetings. This change also ensures a business is not penalized by these delays. The bill changes the initial date of the income tax revenue period from when the Ohio Tax Credit Authority acts to when ODSA and Jobs Ohio recommend the tax credit to the Ohio Tax Credit Authority. The Ohio Tax Credit Authority will still perform the ultimate approval. House Bill 489 sunsets commissions to provide better service to the customers of the ODSA programs. The two commissions that will be sunset are the Development Finance Advisory Council, or better known as DFAC, and the Water and Sewer Commission. The DFAC Council serves currently a redundant role in the recommendation of economic development loans. Currently, before a loan can be finalized, statute requires the loan be reviewed and recommended by DFAC, and then reviewed and authorized by the controlling board, and then finally executed by the director of the Ohio Department of Development. Our intent with this movement is, by removing DFAC from the process, we anticipate that the loans will close much faster, better serving companies, and allowing development to move at the speed of market. As for the Water and Sewer Commission, the commission appears to be defunct and has not met or taken action since 2007. These services, if necessary, will still be provided through the Ohio Water Development Authority. Lastly, in response to House Bill 153, House Bill 489 makes multiple changes to the Invest Ohio program to clarify the program that was created in the biennial budget process. These changes include updating several definitions and making other language changes to ensure only taxpayers who are in good standing with the state can claim a tax credit. It clarifies that affiliated entities' assets are considered when determining if a business qualifies as a small business. It adds a mechanism to fund the program through an application fee similar to other tax credit programs administered by DSA, for example, historic preservation tax credits. And it adds a job creation reporting requirement to the program. Again, as you can see, we have the displays here so you can see the breakdown of the new department as it sits. And I would be more than glad to turn it over to Representative Cheryl Grossman at this time.
Thank you very much. I want to make certain that everyone knows our gratitude to Representatives Patman and Barnes for voting for Jobs Ohio 1. And as we continue on this new chapter, additional chapter for economic development in Ohio, I look forward to our entire House coming before this bill and supporting it for all the people of Ohio as we look at economic development in very, very strong ways. I'm excited and very pleased that we are here today sharing the details on this bill, and I think it's a win-win for all the people of Ohio. Thank you for being here today, and I will turn it back to my fellow representatives here.
The main change on this, I think, really is a greater focus on tourism, first of all. But I think the establishment of the advisory board is really the big issue here, so that there are better strategies and promotion concepts in place for really for how to promote tourism for the state. And so in that respect, we're similar to the way the Jobs Ohio itself is structured, with experts really in economic development from various corporations around the state. This will also look to those who actually have a stake and expertise and professional background in the area of tourism for the state, so that we can have input from them and try to figure out better ways to promote tourism for the state. So I think that's the main change, is really to have an advisory board that will work on this and provide professional expertise on those matters.
In regards to that particular investment, I think that it is a rather modest investment that the state has made at $5 million, is that correct?
Yes.
For the pilot program. And I would say that with a $1 investment and a $14 return that we've seen in the last year with tourism, the tourism-related industry, that it's certainly a wise investment on the state's behalf, and we see promising results, and we don't see a point at which we climax in those numbers. And so I think when states surrounding us, like Michigan, spend $29 million in tourism, that this is wise for us to invest in this area and start looking at new opportunities to bring revenue into the state. And this certainly will be doing that, and Representative DeVilla hit on that, but I think that we'd be completely remiss if we didn't give Representative Grossman a moment to talk about this. She has hosted our tourism caucuses, so we have to rope her in a little bit and let her explain, because this has been a passion of hers for a while.
Thank you, Representative. Very much. As the representative shared, when you're looking at 14-1 return on investment, I know this morning when I turned on the news, I think I saw 4 different states advertising in Ohio. And those are dollars that are leaving our state that could very well remain here and help the 4th largest industry in the state of Ohio. So yes, this has been a passion of mine, and I'm very pleased today to see it being formally pursued as a priority for our caucus. And again, as I shared earlier, I'm hoping that both sides of the aisle will understand the importance and the benefit to all the people of Ohio if we're able to stimulate and grow tourism in Ohio. It's more than
Right, and I would say also that it's more than one part of the state. Certainly, this is something that has a dramatic impact on all parts of Ohio, and it's something that I would see members from both parties getting behind to help promote this type of industry all throughout the state.